Happy Saturday, Union Center. Welcome back to our third installment of our book study for the Energy Bus. Really excited to talk to you about this week's chapters or lessons 4 and 5. They're very, very important lessons as we start to kind of get our energy buses on the road and cruising. So, just to recap the last couple of lessons that we have, the first one is that you are in control of your bus. And that's the most important rule for you to remember. You are in control of where your bus goes and when it stops. The second lesson is that you have to have, or the second rule is that you have to have a vision for where you want your bus to go. If you're just going to get on the road and drive aimlessly, who knows where you're going to end up. But you have to have a vision, a goal of where you want to go. And then the third one is that you have to fuel your energy bus with positive energy. Remember from last week, if you fuel everything with negative energy, what are you going to get back? You're only going to get negative coming back to you. So if you fuel it with positive energy, you're going to get positive coming back to you. All right, so at this point in the book, George is getting prepared. His boss has come to him and said, listen, George, you got one more try to really save your job. And you have this big presentation that you have to do with your team, and you got to knock it out of the park. Otherwise, the writing's on the wall. We're going to have to let you go. So George is kind of a nervous wreck. He's sort of buying into what Joy has been talking about these different rules and trying to apply them to his life. And that leads us to rule number 4. Joy and George have been talking about how he can get the people that he works for and works with on his energy bus so they can knock this presentation out of the park that his boss has set up for him. And Joy tells him, and we're on page 56 here, rule number 4, you have to invite people on your bus and share your vision for where you want to go, for the road ahead. So, not only are you in control of your bus, so you're behind the wheel and you get to drive it, whether you drive it down the road to sunny California or where you drive it off the road into a ditch. That is completely up to the driver, okay? Now, for your bus, you get to invite the people that you want on it. So Joy and George talk a lot about this, and Joy really recommends you need to go to the people on your team and you need to tell them where you want the bus to go. So the plan that you have to see through this presentation that your boss has assigned to you, you need to let them know, and you need to find out who's on your bus and who's not. So George has this very long weekend. He's stressing about it. He's thinking about it. So he goes into work on Monday, and he has a meeting with his team, and he tells his team, hey, this is how we're going to do this presentation. This is how we're going to get to success on our road. And he was shocked that he had some people that were really on board with him. And then he had some people that he thought were very loyal to him say, George, we don't trust you. This is going to be a tire fire. This is not going to be good. And it really hit his energy bus. So one of his employees said, George, this is on page 63 now, we think your bus is going to crash, and we don't want to be on it when it does. Another one of his employees said, we need this job. And then George replied, well, who's we? And the employee responded, all of us need this job. On page 64 and 65, Larry and Tom, 2 other employees, they continued causing problems by fighting with each other and with the rest of the team. They complained about everything and bashed other people's ideas while offering no solutions of their own. George tried to get everyone on the same page, but he was severely distracted by the 3 wolves who did not want to get on his bus. He didn't know what he should do with them, so he just let them sit there passively at his meetings as they let everyone else know how they felt by rolling their condescending eyes at one another. So, George was taken aback. He thought there were people that were going to be super into being on his bus, say to him, dude, we don't trust you. We don't trust you, and we don't trust where this bus is going. But we're going to stay on the bus. And that's a problem. we're going to stay on your bus, but all we're going to do is just roll our eyes, and we're not going to be very happy when we're on the bus, and we're just going to cause more problems. And at that point, George didn't know how to deal with it. So George was so taken aback by the people that didn't want to be on his bus that what did he do? He focused more time on those people that didn't want to be on the bus that did want to, or than they did want to be on the bus. So the people that actually believed in George and said, you know what, I'm on board with you. I like this idea. I think I know where you want to go and I can contribute to it. Those people started to take a back seat on the bus, and the negative people took a front seat because George was focusing all of his attention on how to get those people on board. We're on page 68 now. Joy and George are talking a little bit more about how to get these negative people, or what to do with these negative people. And Joy tells George, you see, there will always be negativity everywhere and in everything that you do. You will always be surrounded by negative people. It's not these people, so to speak, it's the negativity that they represent. Self-doubt, fear, hopelessness, and negative energy drain you and sabotage everything that you want in life and all the success that you desire. So George was so despondent. He was so down on himself because of the 8 team members, 3 of them didn't want to be on his bus anymore. And a couple of them stayed on his bus and really were just causing more problems than anything else. And it brought down it brought down the positivity of the 5 people that said, you know what, I believe in this. I want to stay on this bus. I trust where it's going. And Joy told George, we're at the bottom of page 69 here, the problem is that you are taking it too personal. Step back for a moment. Don't focus on these people personally. Don't think of it as you versus them. Just realize that they are representing negative energy that will always be around. The important thing is to know how to deal with the negativity and what to do with it. Now we're on to rule number 5. Rule number 5, page 70. Don't waste your energy on those who don't get on your bus. Joy tells George, don't worry about the people who don't get on your bus. Don't waste your energy on them. Don't try to make them get on. You can't drive anyone else's bus. You can only drive yours. Maybe they are meant to get on another bus. Maybe if they get on your bus, they're going to ruin your ride for you and for everyone else. Plus, the more energy you spend worrying about the people who didn't get on the bus, the less you will have for the people who actually said yes. So for the people who don't get on your bus, just let them sit at the station as you drive on by. Wow. That is powerful stuff. It's powerful, powerful stuff. And there's a lot of stuff in there that as teachers, as principals, as leaders, we can all use in our everyday lives. You're not going to make everybody happy. And as a teacher, you're not going to make everybody happy. As a principal, I understand that I'm not going to make everybody happy. All the decisions that I make aren't going to be universally liked. And that goes for any type of leadership role. In the classroom, as a building principal, central office, as a parent. I mean, you're never going to please everybody 100% of the time. And you can't take it personally. You can't. You have to do and make decisions that you believe are best decisions to be made in that moment. And they might not be universally praised. And that's a tough leadership thing to grasp, to understand that the decisions that you make, whether it's with a parent, whether it's as a principal to a teacher, they're not going to be universally liked. Um, and that's tough. That's tough. That's a difficult thing because we do take things personally. But we have to understand too, like Joy said, we're in charge of our own buses and we're in charge of those people that get on our bus. And if we allow negative people and negative energy to get on our bus, it's going to ruin the ride for everyone else. So at some point, we are going to have those conversations with people about, hey, this is where we're going. This is where I'm driving this bus. And if you want to stay on this bus, I need you to knock off the negative altogether or get off the bus or get off the bus. And those are difficult, tough conversations to have. And we have to have them all the time as leaders, as teachers, as people in positions where we have authority. We have to have those difficult conversations. But it's important that we do, because if we don't, we're going to spend more time worrying about what is happening with those people who don't want to be on our bus than the people who are actually on our bus and are excited about our journey and have said, I trust where it's going. I trust what you're doing. That's huge. That is huge, guys. Because at the end of the day, if we get a crabby parent email, or we get a student who's constantly causing us issues, we have to reach out to them and we have to talk to them and we have to make sure that they know this is the way it's going to be, and I need you on or I need you off. Now, when it comes to certain situations, we can't boot kids out of school all the time. We work with colleagues all the time, but we have to let it be known. And I've told you guys this from the very start, especially from the very start of this pandemic. There's no shame or hiding telling people how you feel about it. If you want to wear a mask all the time and never pull it down, that's your choice. Same thing with having these conversations with people. If you don't like hearing the negative energy and negative speak and negative talk perpetuated every single day, you have a choice to address it. And you can tell them, guys, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. And I can tell you a story. When I first started teaching, it was in my second year. And I had to have a difficult conversation with a colleague because this colleague constantly was perpetuating, what wasn't going right and what wasn't working. And it was a conversation that we had and said, I don't want to hear about it anymore. I don't want it being brought in the lunchroom. I don't want it to be talked about in front of me. And if that's the case, then I'm just not going to eat in here anymore. And I'm fine with that. But it's doing us no good. And we have to be solution, and we have to be problem solvers, problem thinkers, instead of just complaining about an issue. And that's difficult. That is a difficult thing to understand. It's a difficult task as leaders to tell people and say, first of all, not take things personally and not take things like it's a slight against you, especially when you make a decision. But then to have the wherewithal and to have the strength to say, I'm kicking you off my bus. I'm kicking you off my bus. And we still might have to see each other. And George gets to that point where he has to have those conversations with those couple of people that were on his bus that were still causing negative energy. You have to have those conversations and just say, listen, just like Joy said, we're leaving you at the gas station and our bus is cruising on down the road because we've got things that we have to accomplish. We have kids that we have to serve. We have parents that we have to serve. And I need you on board the bus. I need you on board the bus. So rules 4 and 5. Rule number 4 is to invite people on your bus. Rule number 5 is don't worry about the people that don't get on your bus, because you'll spend more time worrying about those negative things and negative people than you will be the people that actually want to be there. Guys, I hope you're enjoying this. We're almost halfway through at this point. The next chapter, just a little sneak peek, is going to start talking about energy vampires. So more about, when we invite people on our bus, because there's going to be times where people get down. How do we deal with those energy vampires? So I really appreciate you guys listening to this. We are into October, and next week we have our groundbreaking ceremony, and construction is going to start up. So things are going to get crazy. So more than ever, we need to stay positive and stay together as all these different things around us are going to be changing. Now, we hope and our pray that nothing affects us in terms of inside the building, but guys, there's going to be things that are outside of our control. So stay together, stay positive. We will get through this together. And you know what? In 9 short months, we'll have a brand new addition to our building. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we will see everybody on Monday.